Second, like five. Three. Four. What do I? You know. All right. No, different. I think one of the. Yeah. Yeah, but still, somebody asked donations. This is what goes in them. This I had this Utah. Yeah, it was like, what goes in it? There's nothing printed. And you put it, it goes. Go to it. David. Yeah. You in? Mr. Yes, you don't need to look at us. Yeah, you don't even know. Yes. That's right. Okay. Yep. Neighborhood board.
They will be accepting applications and registration beginning December 20th. And the filing and voter deadline will be February 21st. The voting will be from April 25th to May 16, 2025.
All right, starting with Larry Baird. Thank you. Douglas Fujikura. Three. Joseph Ogura and David Yomes and myself, Chandra Kanimar, we're here. So we do have a quorum. Yep.
Okay, let's move on to the Honolulu Fire Department to start our meeting.
Good evening, Captain Dave Higa. Information previously requested from last month. Question was, what were the names of the involved patients and the location? Motor vehicle collisions with pedestrians listed in September statistics. The answer would be 2 vehicle pedestrian incidents happened at Honolulu Koi and Alima Street on September 6th at 9 a.m. and on September 15th at 9:57 p.m. We are not permitted to reveal the identities of any incident stats for October. No structure fires, no wildfires, no nuisance fires, 1 cooking fire, 2 activated alarms. Emergencies, medical emergencies, we had 68. No motor vehicle collisions. No rescue, no hazardous materials and supplies. Fire safety tips and announcements. Fire safety tips: kitchen and cooking safely. Cooking is a leading cause of fires. Protect yourself, your family, and your neighborhood by practicing these prevention tips. For more information and resources, visit fire.gov. Stay in the kitchen while you are cooking. Do not leave cooking unattended. You must leave the kitchen, turn off the stove. Keep items such as oven mitts, wooden utensils, towels, etc. away from the stove top, even when the stove is hot. Ever store items on top of the stove or cooktop and inside the oven. Keep a lid nearby to smother grease fires. Smother the fire by sliding a lid with the pan and turning off the stove. Only plug one heat-producing appliance, such as a coffee maker, toaster, etc., into an outlet at a time. And create a 3-foot child and pet-free zone around your cooking.
Board, any questions for the fire department? Mr. Baird?
Pertaining to the accident, I understand what you can and cannot say, but that's fine. I'm interested in what injuries had occurred or deaths. You know, were they real bad or were they just a bump and knock somebody down? And do you have that type of, or can you get that type of information? Or if it was by speed. I understand that, that's no problem, but was it by speeding or just an intention?
That's what I would be interested in, because if it was serious, I want maybe to go and start investigating that intersection to see if it's a dangerous site. So that's the type of information I'm looking for. I understand you can't say many names or nothing. That's fine. I don't need that. But a little bit more so that maybe we can go investigate into it to see if there should be a speed bump put there or a stop sign or a change on it, whatever it might be. I have one more question, David. Since it's November, we have to start thinking about fires by Christmas trees or with Christmas trees. Since we're only gonna have one more meeting are we meeting in December? No. So this is our last meeting for the year. So we should be being more, because of the season coming up, the Christmas tree incidents that happen should be brought up at this meeting, but that's okay. I mean, I think I've talked enough about that people should be, oh yeah, we're gonna start thinking about it. So, okay, thank you.
Stormwater.
My question is almost the same vein because we're not meeting next month. What are the recommendations? Because the worst, from what I've experienced in my lifetime, the day after Christmas to a couple of days after New Year's is probably one of the most dangerous times because of alcohol, drinking and driving, and also illicit fireworks that are being popped at that time. Are there any recommendations for us of either or? Because we don't meet next month. So we're not meeting to just, like, if there's any kind of, usually like you just made the recommendation for, the fire stove and be careful how you cook food and stuff. Is there, I know this is a last second thing, so this might be kind of imposing indirectly, but because we don't meet next month, December usually is a big safety thing, the day after Christmas through maybe 1 or 2 days after New Year's, because a lot of people are drinking and a lot of people are popping illicit fireworks. Is there anything we can, like, any kind of recommendations off the top of your head for the neighborhood of that?
Top of my head, be responsible. Maybe I cannot control it. So, it's just to be responsible.
Vice Chair Hein. Audience, any questions for the fire department? Thank you. Honolulu Police Department, Pro City. Honolulu Police Department, Kalihi Station.
Before we get started, I just want to thank
Last Tuesday, a great opportunity. Without further ado, over statistics for the month of October. For the month of October, we had 0 aggravated assaults, compared to 0 in September, remaining the same. We had 5 auto thefts, compared to 3 in September. 1 burglary, compared to 0 in September. 1 robbery, compared to 0 in September. 0 sex assaults, between the same. 2 simple assaults, compared to 1. 12 thefts, compared to 5 in September. 3 unauthorized entries into papers, compared to 6 in September. Total calls for service for the month of October, 507. I want to touch up briefly on top of this robbery case. Quick. So it happened on the city bus in the area of Lima. Not sure if some of you guys might have heard about it. Oh, you were there. Okay, perfect. So it happened in the area of Lima, Boy. Plaintiff boarded the city bus. He sat to the rear of the bus. The suspect, who was already on board the bus, decided to sit next to the plaintiff where he sat now. To start a small conversation, he asked the plaintiff what time it was. The plaintiff gave him the time. Then he asked the plaintiff for his property. The plaintiff refused to give him property. He made a threatening motion by reaching for something underneath his jacket in the waistband area. Plaintiff thought it might have been a handgun. At no time did he ever see a handgun. It's not part of the handgun. And it's possibly plus a complete stop. Suspect overpowered the plaintiff, his property, bag, contain a back. Exited the bus at the rear entrance exit door. Led down the street and what's interesting is the case got assigned to a robbery detective after that. So we didn't have an arrest. Um, robbery detective was able to put together for those and create a crime information thing and send it out to our department by officers. 2.5 weeks later, our officers got sent to the air while being on downstairs. So our officers went over there. They investigated it. They found a group of juveniles hanging out by a loudspeaker. They recognized one of the juveniles as a suspect in the property. So caller took the effort to call the police and report just this minor infraction of a loud music thing led us to detain, positively identify, and arrest this robbery suspect. So I know we always tell you guys, see something, hear something, say something. But just a minor infraction like that, just some loud music across the robbery suspect, we were able to recognize them. So cannot do this to anybody else. So that helped out a lot for us. Then lastly, I have a coffee with a cop coming up December 6th. I believe that's right here. It's going to be from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. It's going to be at the Salt Lake Shopping Center. So community, encourage you to come out. I'll start with the police and Brooklyn. You guys can make it. And that's all I have for now. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns. Yes, sir.
Mr. Baird,
Back, I didn't bring my paper, but got it. So, but my memory is back around the middle of October, we had an incident over around Foster Village. We heard that there was a hijacking of a car with a pistol, and with shots fired. And was helicopters flying over our area. They came down my street chasing the guy. I think, I didn't want to leave my home area, but I think you guys shut down Foster Village at the roundabout, stopped the vehicle, and then pursued down at the other end of my block. See police with flashlights looking under cars, and they were pursuing the suspect. Luckily, an officer came by, standing out there, and explained that it was carjacking and there were shots fired. But when he said that, we all went back over our house because they were looking for it. And can you give us an update on that?
Actually out of the Beacon district, out in District 3, but I did hear, I remember hearing something about that. And that's the District 3 sign submitted. I come out of the area. So any details about that one, sorry.
No problem. Thank you.
Mr. Elmore,
Similar question I asked the fire department person here, because we don't meet next month. And I know we're going to be calling you guys a lot. I know our neighbors will be because of the fireworks. And also as we're driving, like, I don't drink anymore and drive, but that Christmas, from the day after Christmas to the couple days after New Year's, is a nuts time, as far as alcoholics being on the road and stuff. Well, what kind of words of recommendation or something that you can give the neighborhood? Fireworks and alcohol driving.
Fireworks, that's a two-part question. Be safe about this fireworks, be responsible, like you did say. Have parents looking children playing fireworks. As far as drinking and driving, yes, holiday season is upon us, and we are going to see more people attending parties, drinking. Like you said, you used to, you don't do it anymore. So if you guys are going to drink, drink responsibly. Make sure you guys have a designated driver to get you home safe.
Vice Chair Hein. Audience, any questions for the Kali Police? Board members, passed out a flyer for you folks. It was handed to me by the Kali Police Station Lieutenant. And it shows all the monthly cases for each month. I kind of found it interesting that, they responded just in Salt Lake and Aliamanu, probably averaged a little over 560 cases. Just looking at the numbers, trying to figure it out in my head. But every month, about 560 cases. That's unbelievable. It's a lot, just in Salt Lake and Aliamanu. So A lot of things going on out there, and like the lieutenant said, keep your eyes and ears open and call 911 if you see something. Thank you, Lieutenant, for coming out.
Guys, have a good night.
Okay, we move on to our Neighborhood 18 Community Warrior of the Month Award. Warrior of the Month Award certificate segment at our meetings is to honor those people who have made or are making a difference in our Neighborhood 18 community by their awesome contributions in helping our neighborhood to be the best place to live, work, and play. I believe it is time and long overdue for our community to recognize these movers and shakers of our community, past and present. And what better way to do that is at this people's meeting right here. With that said, let me present the Warrior of the Month Award for November 2024. This power couple has been a force of caring and kindness to others for many years. Their selfless acts of volunteerism and the teaching of our students says it all about this wonderful couple. Their service and dedication to the community speaks volumes. He was one of the founding members of Neighborhood Board 18 back in 1979 and served on the board for many years as a member and as chair. He was elected in 1992 to the Hawaii State Legislature as the District 32 House Representative. He was a clinical psychologist and served as a chief psychologist for the state of Hawaii Department of Health, Mental Health Division for many years. He donated his time on many boards and worked with kids who suffered from autism. He championed for the Salt Lake swimming pool, which he still swims on a daily basis. He, in 1993, received a proclamation from the Honorable Mayor Frank F. Fossey proclaiming January 14, 1993 as Dr. Leonard Pepper Day for his outstanding service to the community. She was a school teacher for 50 plus years in our community. She helped our Keiki going above and beyond of what was expected of her as a teacher and was well liked and respected by her students. She helped with the opening of the Salt Lake Moanalo Public Library. She initiated reading programs for her students so they could excel in learning. They both helped to shape our community in its early stages, pushing for our library, parks, schools, and other necessities that was needed to shape this wonderful place we call home. They both fought for their Foster Village community and neighbors through the years. They raised their 3 children, Andy, Stephen, and Jeff, all boys. They are married now for 71 years and counting. He is 92 years old. She is 93 years old. Ladies and gentlemen, this dynamic duo is Leonard and Mildred Pepper, our Neighborhood Board 18 Warriors of the Month for November 2024. Please give them a round of applause. At this time, Neighborhood Commission Assistant Zodell Magawai and myself will be presenting an award certificate to the Peppers on behalf of Neighborhood Board 18 and the Neighborhood Commission. The award certificate is signed by the Executive Secretary, Director of the Neighborhood Commission, Lloyd Yoninaka, and myself, David Yomes, Neighborhood Board 18 Chair. I ask that all board members at this time come forward to take a photo with Len. Mildred could not be here with us this evening, but we thank her as well for helping shape our community as it is today. Okay, the award certificate reads, the AliamanuSalt LakeFoster Village and Airport Neighborhood Board 18 wishes to recognize the both of you for your community, volunteerism, achievements, and contribution through the years. Mildred, for your dedication, loyalty, partnership in the education and teaching of our students. Leonard, for your years of voluntary service on the neighborhood board and making a difference for the community as a member of the State of Hawaii House of Representatives. Len and Millie, both of your actions within the community over the years speaks volumes as to your unselfish and kind demeanor in helping others. This board takes great pleasure in presenting you with the Neighborhood Board 18 Warrior of the Month Award Certificate for November. Thanks again, Leonard and Mildred Pepper. Community events and concerns. Secretary Chanja Kanemaru will take over the microphone explaining the Salt Lake Waterway Genki Ball toss, which will be occurring on November 23rd.
Thank you very much, Chair. You know, on November 9th, we just had our Genki Ball making. We made 1,034, Genki balls, the mud balls. And, we had a great turnout. I know Chuck Anthony, he rallied all of his people. So I just want to, before I go into the actual toss portion, I just wanted to recap really quickly about the actual cleanup that we did on the 9th, Saturday the 9th. We had just about 107 people, volunteers, all from the community. And particularly, I want to mention, though, that the Navy had 55 of the participants. Yeah, they were there. I mean, they were in different ages. But, it was a family event and it was really great turnout. Yeah, so as a result of the making of those balls, we're going to be tossing or releasing the balls into the Salt Lake Waterway. And so there's a few flyers if you want to take one. If not, I can send it to you electronically as well. But this is going to be a Genki ball toss. We're going to yell Genki Ho, and we're going to tour it out on the 23rd of November, which is next week. But it's 1 o'clock, and we're meeting again at the Country Club Village Recreation Center. You can park over at the Howard Shima, Likini Street mini park, metered parking over there, and then we'll walk you folks over. We'll have great refreshments again. So please join us. We welcome everyone to just participate in it. Wasn't it fun, Ashley? Yeah, tossing. Yeah, so I know Shohei Ohtani is a big thing right now, right? So I know even Senator Wakai wore his Shohei shirt. But anyway, please join us. 1 o'clock, November 23rd.
On our calendar, another community concern is the 2024 general election voting chaos, which occurred on November 5th. With that said, received a couple calls from constituents complaining about this, and some of them standing in line for over 5 hours. This cannot be an acceptable practice for our government. State needs to look at this closely. The last presidential election, people were standing in line 3 to 4 hours. This election, 5+ hours. It doesn't seem like it's a concern for our government. I know we're trying to get a all mail-in voting system in the state of Hawaii and be the first. But I don't think we're going to get there because there's a lot of people in Hawaii feel strongly about voting in person. And to be frank, some of them don't really trust the government and the process. So I believe that this mail-in voting is going to be here for a long time. I mean, in-person voting is going to be here for a long time. And we need to fix this process. This cannot be where people standing in line for over 5 hours. This is just unacceptable. And it's pretty easy to fix as far as I'm concerned. And it's like, especially Honolulu, that's the most voting, the most votes that come out of Honolulu. And there's only one location at City Hall. And that's ridiculous. That's why you get such long lines. There should be at least 6 to 8 voting places that people can go to and cast their vote. Like I said, every presidential year and going back to, I mean, heading to 2028, it's going to be the same thing, probably much worse, depending what's happening during that time. But every presidential election, we have this problem. And lawmakers, you guys need to get together and try to help solve this. This is unacceptable for the voters. So I'm sure when it gets close to that, and if I'm still on a neighborhood board and anybody else sitting at this table is still on a neighborhood board, I hope you bring up this process before, like at least a year before, so the state can plan and come out with a situation that's acceptable, that the voters don't have to be penalized. And I feel that they're being penalized for standing in line for 5 hours. That should never have happened. That said, board have anything on this? Mr. Baird?
Yeah, I agree with you. And I think the process and the way it's going is that the government came out with this, oh, we're going to have everybody mail in and do away with the voting areas. And I think it's more, you got to look at it as a 50-50 proposition. You're correct that, we still should have polling places across this island. And that's the way it should be. I don't know about the other islands, but yes, you're right, and I agree with you 100%.
Vice Chair.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to ask our board, just poll our board real quick. How many of you have actually volunteered during an election at a poll site or at the Capitol? Anybody? Okay, so 3 out of all of us, 4 out of all of us, out of 9 probably, or some of us are missing. My point being, I've been involved in elections. It takes a tremendous cost. All of those sites, even though it's run, the heart and soul of our elections is volunteers. It's a ton of volunteers who are made up mostly of an older generation, right? And a younger generation, and I teeter in between the generations. I'm probably the youngest one on this. Oh no, you're probably, I don't know how old you are. You look younger than me, but I was the youngest one until you came along. And that point being, if we want a really robust in-person one of the questions I tell everybody who complained about the 5-hour and 6-hour wait, one is we moved to that so it could eliminate some of the barriers to participation. My mother we have to hire a van that can take her wheelchair. It costs about $275 round trip to get her from her home to the dock and back, because Medicaid doesn't cover for elections, right? Only hospital visits. It covers people who are homebound, who still want to participate, those who are working in jobs that necessitate their participation, those who are away, people who are Hawaii citizens that either serve time in the military away or are away. We're trying to think of a comment, and I wasn't there. I didn't make the law that went to all mail-in voting, but the amount of money that it takes to do that, right? We complain a lot in the state about where money goes to. Right? Let's talk about that. Let's see how much money it costs and if we really do want that money being spent on that when there are viable options. And two, everybody's going to have to chip in then. Those guys who are standing in line have to jump on the other side and start manning up those spaces because it's a dying generation that's actually fueling that level of volunteerism and work. And I've been there for a few election periods where we're there from before dawn to late in the night, and we're running from schools to schools, picking up ballots, and there's still mistakes that are being made, right? Mistakes are gonna happen too. So I'd just like to throw a reality check in there, not saying that I'm in favor or against any of it, whatever works, but there's some questions to consider, right? Who's gonna make the time to volunteer for that robust in-person elections? And then are we really gonna commit, when we look at our state budget, are we gonna say, yes, that some out of millions of dollars that it's gonna cost to run an elections across the state with the level of in-person voting that would satisfy everybody's trust issues, are we willing to sacrifice that rather than going towards other things, mental health issues, hospitals, schools and school teachers, housing, and all of that? And yeah, just keep that in the back of your mind after that. But mahalo. Thank you so much, Chair.
Anybody else? Along those lines, I'm not saying to just do away with the mail-in process. That'll stay to accommodate certain people, handicapped, military, and others. But there should be a process of voting in person as well, not to skip those people. And as far as he came up with some statistics that said that it's cheaper to do an in-person progress than a mail-in system. I don't know how true that is. I came in the advertiser a while back. But I still think there's room to do both, and not like how full scale like we had before, where every district or every community had their own voting poll area. At least maybe add a few more instead of just two on the island of Oahu. And that's just crazy. That's how that last one on the 5th. That's why we had so much issues. There's only two places you could go. And a lot of people, they want to vote on that day, general election. So most of us, that's a holiday for us. So they wish to vote on that day. So I don't think we should take their rights away as well. But anyway, audience, anything you want to say concerning this matter? Mr. Pepper.
Come up with, like David had a couple of suggestions as to what could be done. But this is what puts the heart of the neighborhood board. And it's crucial that we get this kind of input, not at the level of the representatives, of the senators, mayor, but that we get this kind of input from the people at the level of the neighborhood board. And as long as I've got the microphone for the first time in a long time, I would hope that we get more participation in the election for the neighborhood board members, because if it's done right, they are crucial to feeding the information that the people higher up need in order to run a good city and a good state.
Thank you, Mr. Pepper. Anybody else? Mr. O'More?
I just wanted to make an announcement that I attended the bus fare raising. They had the meeting the other day, and so just wanted to make the announcement that they are planning on raising the bus fares again, but they're not going to raise it yet. I think that meeting that I attended, I went by Zoom. It's the first meeting. And they're going to be holding more meetings starting from next year. And as they get more input, because there wasn't much input, I think there's only one guy that kind of spoke over there, and he was for the price increases. So if you folks are against that price increase, please attend. I don't have the exact dates, and I don't think they had the exact dates either. But as the dates come out, and if we can, we'll let you know at our board meetings. Thank you.
For sure.
Mahalo, Chair. There's an event that's coming up next year in the month of February at Wanlo Gardens. And Wanlo doesn't have its own neighborhood board, so between us and Kalihi, I think we kind of, share information on behalf of them. But in Wanlo Gardens, there's going to be an event, and we have somebody as a member of the community here who can speak more to it. It's going to be the week of President's Day weekend. So it's a holiday weekend, and it's going to be a large event featuring both Hawaii born and raised music, culture, Hawaiian culture, and also I like to call them our cousins over on the islands in the Atlantic Ocean, our ohana from Jamaica with the Marley brothers. With such a huge impact of Bob Marley's film that came out a few years ago, and that music that is so popular here in Hawaii. His family will be represented here along with some other artists from Jamaica, Sean Paul, YG, along with our local artists here. And I'm going to help to curate a section there on Hawaiian culture. Hula, that place was known for having showcases of hula. So, the promoters and the people who are organizing the event are going to make sure that that is a significant part of the event. But Chair, would it be okay if I opened it up to the community, just a community member who can speak just a little bit more about this? Okay, Jabbar?
Everybody going? I'm Jabari McDavid. Organizing the event at Wanlo Gardens. Or back. And so I've done many shows in Hawaii with Tom Moffat and Earth, Wind, Fire, and back in the day. That's how I've kind of found my love for this particular place. And it's one of the most generous types of audiences there is in the world. And so when I found the location of Wanlo Gardens, I just thought it was just an ideal place, such a special history, that I wanted to really create an event that would really celebrate the people. Because, any event that I do is really about the experience. It's really about the audience, the people on the stage are really just a byproduct to the event. It's really about how people are enjoying it. So we're doing things like I have a Michelin star chef coming in who's going to create the food for the festival, but he's only using local sourced ingredients, in which we will take each farmer ingredients and we'll showcase them. And our whole thing is to really just hire a lot of people from the local community and just really share in how to put on a big show, how to put on a great big show that has all the bells and whistles, but do it efficiently. Obviously, there is parking concerns, and we're working with Aloha Stadium as far as getting the transportation in there efficiently, working with the rail system as far as getting people to come in on the rail system, keep that at longer hours, and just encourage people to take public transportation as much as possible. And that's just a very brief, lot of health and wellness. We'll be talking about things that deal with Hawaii, with whether it's diabetes or heart disease. We'll be working with some nutritionists on that plan, just to introduce as many positive things to the community as possible. That's our desire and goal.
Mahalo. Thank you, Jabbar. Thank you, Chair. Oh, yeah, you have a question?
Give me the date again, February.
It's February 15th and 16th. And on the 14th, we're working with the NFL alumni, and we're doing a celebrity golf tournament in Ko'olina as well. That's a part of the event. So the NFL alumni has been very generous. I know they've been speaking with Radiant Cordero's office and really helping us along with this project and really supporting us in this. So we're doing the NFL alumni celebrity golf tournament on the 14th. The 15th and 16th will be the festival days.
Thank you. I know Bob Marley had a big following. Uh, You're saying you're bringing his son in?
Yes, I'm working with the family right now. And his grandson, yeah, yeah. So we're bringing the family in for them.
You think this park's big enough?
I certainly do. I think it has plenty of space. The whole thing is really about learning logistics. You know, I've been in the business for 27 years, so I don't take any kind, you know, I've done shows all over the world. I don't take anything for granted. You know what I mean? You have to really, it's really the logistics are the key component here, you know, smoothly so that it doesn't have any problems for the neighborhood. You know, how efficiently we run this thing is the key. So I'm bringing a lot of people that work with like Live Nation and stuff like that, just to make sure that production value is extremely high. You know, I've always came to shows here in Hawaii, and I've always had like there's some great artists. This one thing I've always talked about is the execution of that. You know what I mean? I just believe that people deserve great production.
And are you going to have a flyer to give out?
Yes.
Well, January is our next meeting, so yeah, I'll give you my address, and when you get your flyers made out, send me a few.
Absolutely.
My niece and nephews and family were Bob Marley fans, so I know they're going to go to this, especially if his son's coming here.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And what are the hours?
So right now we're looking at the hours of 2 to 10. No, because we have parking restrictions. I know we were talking to Aloha Stadium, and I know that we had a beginning window of 2. Obviously, if there was an earlier window, we would take that earlier window for the sake of the capacity and size, just so that we can have a better opportunity to service the people. Our desire and goal is not just to have the activities just at Moanalua Gardens. We believe that the festival starts in the parking lot. So when people park, we would like to begin there, bringing artists right there in the middle of the parking lot in that process to begin the celebration. Because I just believe that parking is always a hassle at events, but if you make parking the event, then it's just a continuation. That's what we're kind of looking at in this particular.
Have you got all your permits and green lights from the state and city and county and everybody involved?
Yeah, that's what we're working on. We're working on getting that
Okay.
handled and making sure that everything's efficient.
Great. Good luck.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I think that would be an excellent venue. Excuse me. I enter through the freeway in Pineapple Place and I get caught sneaking into the venue. Can I use your name? No?
You got that, Dave.
I'm doing security, so I don't know.
Oh, I'm gonna stay home now. The sheriff is coming.
Thank you.
Let's move on to the mayor's report. Oh, Mr. Omura?
Yeah, what's happening with the Christmas parade thing?
It's not Thanksgiving yet, so we'll know next month, Christmas. I think it's still in the, I think it's a go on the 15th. I'll check with Radiant's office. Or somebody from our
Okay, 'cause
office.
I was just wondering because there's no meeting, that's why.
Well, the 14th. Okay. You can ask the city council. Mayor's off.
Any board? Concern about blocking the driveway near Trump. So our Department of Transportation Services, they completed an investigation. They identified there is a bus stop there, that they're gonna clearly keep that curve again. So, yeah, we know that there's a bus stop. And we working with HP. Area. You have other issues. It's not bad. Are you able to, you know if they've painted it yet, or no, not yet? They say they're gonna, I suppose, we'll see, we'll try coordinating with that. That's. Should like, you have pictures. I know you've been speaking about like crosswalks, various crosswalk and of signals. So they're saying they did change out a signal. They did confirm what you were saying. So, when I was to the corner of Allah, they need that Allah I crossways countdown module was halted and module was replaced. On the same corner, the main phase pedestrian signal will be at the, just the hand had to now. So they said they installed it, but another module should be better than it's for us. But if we haven't seen that yet, we'll check it out. And we can coordinate on it. Hopefully it's better, especially considering that it's regional. It's there. They're going to keep an eye on the Nimitz Highway and crosswalks. Assessment. What's going on there? I think it comes up. I'll let you know if there's any changes.
Well, yeah, that Nimitz, that Catlin Park, Arizona Catlin Park thing, at Nimitz, that one is, it's still it's a really short light kind of thing. Very few people walk there though. I know I usually go, when I catch the bus every so often, when I don't drive, like in the Pro City, and I just catch it and I walk. And, a lot of times that light takes forever to change in the evening. And so a lot of times I get impatient after I wait like 2, 3 minutes, and I'll just cross the street when I don't see any cars, But a lot of and when that light does change, it's a real fast. It turns, that green walk thing is pretty fast. And then that, it goes, I think it's like 20 seconds or less. I'm not sure, but it's a quick light kind of thing. And that's probably why that lady got hit. That her daughter came here to talk to the board a couple months ago, and that's probably why that lady may have gotten hit, because of that light is really quick. And for me, like if I gotta literally like jog across the street in order to beat that light kind of thing myself.
Yeah, that's actually really good information to have back. There's there can be timings as the night. So yeah, last one we had from last meeting was return of reports. So our department, Parks and Recreation, is well aware of by department, and then unfortunately the electrical wiring has been stolen. Either the lights, I'm trying to support reports up there. So Parks and Recreation is working on a solution. Prevent that. We also need to set some funding to get all of those things. But the park is open from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. So some people are inventive and they're able to maybe pick up some lights. I know it's a lot of lights, but trying. They definitely recognize the concern. Oh, yep. So there's some regular speed. Yeah, we'd like to bring the public's attention. There's increases to sewer fees, getting by cement. So starting in July of 2025, there's going to be 9% increases annually for 6 years. Then after that, it's going to be an 8%, 7%, 6.5%. So the Honolulu.gov/ENB website. ENB is the city's Department of Environmental Services, Farm Information, and Assessments. We also want to bring up what's attention to so FEMA has updated some flood maps. That was also so right now it's just they are having some public meetings on it. Period. So specifically, we were looking at the maps, because the city did is they took all the maps, Google, Honolulu, FEMA, flood updates, find a map. It's just a nice little map where it has a slider in the middle of the screen, so you can compare what current flood zones are. So, you know, in the Lava Street area, especially around the stadium area, there's some changes. Businesses or residential district should be aware. There are some minor changes. So, area, but it's not what's just be extremely significant. It's minor changes, but it's still everyone should out and see how it's going to change. Again, feel free, just try to go online, find a different website for Honolulu flood zone updates. I mean, we have our Office of Climate Change Sustainability. They have a good thing there as well. Then they take questions and we navigate that information, but it's maybe quite a little. And then, yeah, we just want to let you know that my colleague owns the Orange Field, and baseball fans. We did the bathroom, we did the parking lot, we did the lighting, it's been so fast. So hopefully everybody. Yeah.
I have a complaint from our constituents regarding a parking violation. Paha Street, regarding some tractor trailers, containers that's taking all the parking in Mapunapuna, and their workers just got nowhere to park. I passed there a couple of times and I observed the complaint myself. If somebody can contact the complainant and have the police do some type of enforcement action. On the next page is the complainant's information. Thank you.
That's good.
Board, any other questions? Mr. Baird?
Well, since Radiant isn't here, I'm going to dump what I was going to talk to her about, but I'm so there's quite a few things I have. It was an sort of mass, so I don't recognize him. Okay, well, anyways, it was announced that there was a law that they were trying to introduce and get passed about the kids on these electric bikes, hopping wheelies and doing what they shouldn't be doing really with these electric bicycles. Years ago, when a lot of this stuff happened, I pushed for laws and rules and regulations for bikes, electric bikes, any mopeds, any vehicles. Everybody in this building right now, we're controlled by the laws of traffic laws that we all have to drive under. But yet you take an electric bicycle, you take a regular bicycle, 2 laws. It's suggestions. I think we need to have a book of laws for electric bicycles, scooters, single wheel, anything that anybody uses for transportation that's not a car or truck. We need to have laws, because if you don't, this is just going to go crazy. And the kids are realizing there's no laws that go against it. They can do what they want to do. And there's no laws that follow the city and counties, the HPD do that also. It's like kind of lost. No one's looking at recognizing it. Finally, we got something that they're recognizing because the kids popularly tandem riding on these single bikes are another thing that's a problem. Speeding is a big thing. Noise is another thing. We still have a lot of noise with mopeds, yet we passed a lot of laws back a year or so, or maybe longer, that restricted the noise from mopeds, the way the kids drive. But there's nothing to back it up. That needs to be done. We need to start looking at this because there's more and more and more of them coming because the parents buy them for the kids. They don't give the kids any direction. goes out there, oh, I've been riding a bicycle, now I can ride an electric bike. Yeah, it's fine. But when he starts running down the middle of the street on the roads and whatever, kids are going to start getting hit, killed, and we don't want that. So we need to start looking, city, counties, the mayor has to step forward and say, we're going to do this to protect the community, especially the kids. I see kids out in my area all the time, 5, 6 years old, right down the street. I call HPD, hey, the kids are out there. Well, you know, by the time we get there, they're gone. You know where they live. Oh, they just fly by my street, you know, and there's no helmet. And like I said, they're 5, 6 years old, some of them maybe even younger. They have golf carts. So we have to start regulating streets better. Help, not to have kids.
Understood. I agree. So our department. They're seeing the same. There's accidents. That's where the student. So Robert has more specific information on something on a better answer. Looks like he does.
Okay, thank you.
I would leave your mask on because there's a lot of sick people on this board.
Evening Chair Jones, Robert's office. Yeah, so since Councilmember Romero is on the legislative side for information, yeah, that does, but so incidentally related to the definition of e-bikes, the city's ETS. It's actually having a hearing right now. We had a meeting that started at 6 p.m. to receive public input on how the city should define different devices or categories of e-bikes, what ages should be allowed to ride them, and how fast, how strong the motors are. So my understanding is that the legislature passed a law a year or two ago, maybe, that assigned that responsibility. So the county's going through that process right now. And I think based on that input, the department will submit a bill to the council to consider amending our ordinances to address that. Additionally, about wheelies, there's a bill right now that was introduced to the council, Bill 61, that addresses that specific issue. Amend our ordinances that will prohibit wheelies by all two-wheeled vehicles, motorcycles. So that's something that hasn't. So it's active. I guess the concerns.
Yeah, kind of. I'm originally from California, and they have a thing called exhibition of speed. And that regulates a lot of stuff that we're talking about. Might be a title that it falls under because it pertains to everything. Exhibition of speed. I got a ticket one time because I had a broken motor mount. And when I took off, fan comes up and hits the hood of the car. I got a ticket for that because the cop thought I was speeding because the noise made. But there's a lot of laws under the exhibition of speed in California that pertains to all of this that we're talking about. That might be a good title.
It's good info. Look into that and forward that to the Department of Transportation Services to us. Their piece.
Been on. Audience, any questions for the mayor's office? Hearing none, city council?
Mayor's office submitted our report to electronic. Have some printed copies back. It's kind of an extensive report. I'll try and go over it really quickly to summarize it at the details when we have time, or you can ask me any questions. So in regards to the Salt Lake Christmas Parade, our understanding is that the parade is occurring on Saturday, December 14th from 6:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. Thank you, Giamma, for getting that information. And related, sort of, our neighbors next door, IAEA, they're having their parade that same day at 9 a.m. So if you want to go first thing in the morning to IAEA side, have a parade and probably get some candy there, you can come back to this side in the evening and get more candy. Bring the candy. Okay. Going on to community concerns, I want to thank the Country Club. They addressed an encampment that was on their side of the property. People thought it was at Salt Lake District Park property, but it actually was on their side of the property. There was a hole cut in the fence. They were able to access HCC side, but they addressed it, they took care of it. So thank you, HCC, for doing that. Alapu'umalu Park grass. We had concerns that the grass was long on the fields. Our office did a site inspection on October 24th. Saw that the fields were mowed. They look in pretty good condition, in stable condition. It's just that closer to the fence side, I think the riding mowers aren't able to go on that slope. So the grass is a little long there, and we hope that DPR will probably manually cut. Speeding on Lima Street, DTS, there's a request for traffic calming. Certain areas. DTS went out, did an investigation. They didn't see any accident history that would warrant installation of devices. However, they did do a speed analysis and found that most people are traveling at the speed limit 25, but some are going over. So they asked HPD to do laser enforcement. And they could potentially look at doing one of those speed trainings in the future. And speeding on Bikini Street, HPD went out and did speed enforcement in the area of 630, 45, 27 Bikini Street. That was at the end of October. They didn't observe any speeding, but as the officer mentioned earlier, you say something. If you see anyone that could potentially be speeding, just call 911. HPD might not be able to respond in time, but you can report. And the calls for speeding are recorded, and DTS uses that data too when they consider what they do as far as trying to control purposes. There's a complaint about graffiti on private property on Maluna Street. Unfortunately, the city DPP doesn't have any enforcement or jurisdiction over graffiti on private property. They did send a courtesy letter to the owner to ask them to clean it out, but of course, there's no enforcement action or authority. So if any of neighbors know the resident where that owns the home where graffiti is, willing to reach out and talk to them or assist them, that is another route to address that concern. Finally, for the community concerns, we had calls regarding feral chickens at Howard Shima Bikini Street Mini Park. So city's customer services department sent out our contractor previously, and they didn't notice any chickens based on this recent concern. They put out some traps. Unfortunately, they removed the traps. They didn't catch any chickens because the traps are being damaged by a person. So possibility, they're looking at working with DPR to install do not feed chicken signs as a potential route. Moving on to bills and resolutions, you can take a look at the list. We talked about Bill 61, Deputy mentioned that potential sewer fee increases. That bill is actually bill number 60. And this one is interesting. It's a consecutive referral. It's going to the Committee on Public Infrastructure and Technology first. If it's passed out of that, it goes to the Budget Committee. So there's no hearing as of yet. The Public Infrastructure Committee agenda comes out tomorrow. So we'll know that if that bill will be in the agenda, but you're going to get that presentation. Finally, for the bills regarding fireworks. So as everyone probably heard that there was a bill that passed Council, Bill 22, that would allow for use of ground-based fireworks and sparklers. The mayor vetoed it, and there wasn't enough votes at Council to override that. So the only consumer fireworks that are allowed right now are firecrackers, and that's with the permit, no other fireworks. Okay, and Member Baird, Councilmember Cordero isn't here tonight because
She was in Atlanta receiving a National Foundation for Women Legislators, Women of Excellence Award. So they had a conference. She went up to the conference and was honored with this award and recognition. And while she was up there, she got a call from the National League of Cities who wanted to honor her for the Centennial Under 40 Impact Award at their conference in Tampa. So she's in Tampa as we speak. She's also attending a conference there, but she'll be returning. She said the conferences were great. She's a lot about how the different municipalities around the U.S. address certain issues and a lot of interesting topic meetings that she's participating in. So she's going to have a lot to work on. That's the end of the.
Thank you.
Audience, any questions for the city council? Thank you.
Thank you.
Make it short.
Yep.
Bullet journal.
I find it very interesting that about a year ago or so, city and county came out and put speed bumps all over the place. And then we get requests for one being put in a certain place because of it. And then all of a sudden they have to do reports and look into it. You know, did they do reports and look into it with all the ones they put out in the very beginning? I don't think so. They just went up and put them out. So I don't understand why now they have all this investigation, take the time. Just go put a speed bump up there like they did a year ago. What is the hassle? If there's a complaint in the neighborhood, act on it. Don't sit on it. And that's what they're doing is they're sitting. So please push that. Thank you.
And we have a resolution later in this evening regarding similar to what Mr. Beard brought up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Governor Green's office.
Aloha Chair, Board, and community members. My name is Diamond Batajos, and I am the Information and Community Relations Officer at the Department of Hawaiian Homelands. So nothing to share on my part today, but I did follow up with the Department of Law Enforcement, who said, unfortunately, they do not have the manpower to attend every meeting, but if we would like to prioritize a few, they could definitely calendar those. In the meantime, if we think of a solution on maybe sharing any statistics, or maybe shooting them some and they can answer specifics, I'm happy to bring that to any of the upcoming meetings. With that said, I'm open to any questions or feedback for the governor's office.
Or any questions for the governor's office?
Sure.
Chair Hine?
The Water Commission, Governor, just please put it on the radar that it is of huge concern that he is not, or that he appointed someone that has such a huge conflict of interest on the Water Commission, that it impacts all of Hawaii, and to have someone that will have to remove himself on that commission because of his personal relationships with different landowners is very problematic. Not to have a voice that is knowledgeable and skilled in traditional Hawaiian waterways and practices. So yeah. Since we
Noted,
have you
thank
here. Yeah. Go tell him, please.
Yes.
Mahalo.
Audience, any questions for the governor's office? Severe?
Does the governor put out a flyer like this?
Yeah, so I've been emailing an e-version monthly.
I don't have a computer.
Okay,
So
I'll
I-
certainly bring printed ones the next time.
My request is we bring 9
9,
and
okay.
before the meeting, go out and put it in every place we're going to be sitting so we can review it before you, so we know what to ask.
Okay, understood. Sure thing.
So regarding the sheriffs coming to our meetings,
Mhm.
reason I requested that is for them, this is a positive thing for the sheriff's department, the state, the airports division, and the community because we get to hear what's going on at the airport. It's not something that it's negative, that they're afraid to come here.
Right.
And as far as them giving 5 minutes at a time and they don't have enough time to send a sheriff here, I think that's a bunch of bull.
Mhm.
But it's all on them. It's positive for them. Is they want to be like the police department. They're the sheriff's department. They're the same arrest powers as the police at the airport. And they should come to the meetings and not be afraid to talk to the public And a lot of a lot of the public, they don't know what they do at at the airport. They don't know what areas they're responsible for.
Mhm.
Even people in my board right now, they don't know that they're responsible for most of Lagoon Drive and some of the outskirts on Rogers Boulevard and Owl Lily Street. Stuff that they should be able to come to this meeting and explain to the public. So everybody be aware, and it's a positive thing. You can go back to them and tell them it's not a negative thing.
Okay.
I know as soon as this thing, when I asked and they went upstairs to the top officials, I knew this thing was going to be sour because they're all afraid of whatever they're afraid of. They tell them they don't have to be afraid of. We got the police coming to our meetings every month. So, we welcome them. If they don't want to come, fine, but they owe it to the community to let us know what's going on at the airport. Thank you.
Understood. Thanks.
Mr. Barrett.
Quick follow-up.
Okay.
HPD comes here, the fire department comes here, we put them first on the list
Mhm.
because they're on duty.
Mhm.
When they come in, we get them up first, they do the report and they leave. So the sheriff doesn't have to sit here for 2 hours waiting to go up. We put them first on the agenda because we know we have to get them back to work. So it's not something they gotta sit here for a long time, and that may be something that they're afraid of if they have to sit here and wait and, wait for the meeting to go. We put them at the very top, very first, so they can get back to work. And I don't see where a half an hour a month is, to me, that's just send somebody work. They don't have to drive very far. It's not like they can't come here and take calls and listen to the radio. So if something happens, they have to go to, they got to go. Fine, we understand that, but that should be addressed to them too, is that we're not picking on them. We want information, and so does the community. Thank you.
No problem. I'll assure them of that.
Okay. Thank you very much for
Thank
coming
you.
out. Senator Wakai's office.
My name's Ashley. I did have hard copy. I did electronically send to. We don't really have too much information to share today. We did want to touch upon Salt Lake Elementary School recently capital project funds from government's office to help redo the turf at their playground. But otherwise, I'm two questions and concerns.
Any questions, board, for Senator Wakai's office? Audience, any questions for the senator? Thank you for coming out. Sit on your first.
Proceed, cover visual.
Oh, I like it. Moving on, House Representative Linda.
Hey, Chair Yolks, members of the neighborhood board, Chiama, House District 31, circulating copies of my report. Happy to share with you that the House has organized and we've announced our new leadership team. For the first time in Hawaii's history, we have a woman speaker, Representative Mimi Nakamura, and I will be her vice speaker. So for the very first time on the House floor, we will hear Madam Speaker. That's very exciting. On the reverse side, I wanted to share that Monala Elementary School has been having their annual fun fair Friday, November 22nd. So it's 2 p.m. Help out in some school. That I'm answering questions.
Board, any questions for the representative? Audience, any questions for the representative? Thank you much. And I forgot to mention that the high schools, Monroe High School, Radford High School, they were in that HHSAA cheerleading contest. And at the end of the day, Radford High School became the state cheerleading champion. So congrats to both schools, especially Radford. Vice Chair, you on it, huh? I wish I was 30 like her. We're moving on, the House Representative, Mike, are you, no, I just. We have Congratulations, Garner Shimu. New House of Representative.
Hey, Chair Yomes, board members, community members. First of all, I want to thank Rep. Bayu for his service and wish him well. As Chair Yomes shared, I am Garner Shimizu, newly elected District 32. I want to thank the district for their support and their vote of confidence in me. I intend to do my best and serve the public and work hard to partner with the neighborhood board for community concerns. I'm still trying to get an office, so transitioning from campaigning, but I'm open to any questions.
Board, any questions? Audience, any questions? Thank you, Garner. We'll catch you in January. We have a lot of questions for you in January.
I'll be ready. Thank you.
Congrats again. Anybody from the Senator Brian Schott's office, Congressman Ed Pace's office? Not hearing any. Moving on to presentations. Is Aria Juliet here? Is anybody from the City Department of Environmental Services here regarding sewer rates? Hey, let's move on. Aloha Stadium.
Chair Yones, members of the board, and members of the committee. I'm Chris Kiniwaka on behalf of the Department of Accounting and General Services and the Stadium Authority, and soon to be joined by our Deputy Stadium Manager, Sari Rasu, for a big announcement for the new Aloha Stadium Entertainment District came this past Halloween, where we got to share that we got approval for Aloha Level District partners to be the preferred offer. So what that means now is we've crossed into that 8-month due diligence phase. So we're getting into heavy negotiations, nailing down on the details of the technical requirements and making sure they meet our standards before we do the final report and execute that contract. Probably the most exciting part about that phase, though, is that is also when HD is required to do their community outreach and outreach to all the stakeholders. So we're looking forward to the first peek into proposal in time for Christmas for the public. That means more active communication with your. So I know you're recessed for December, but we will continue leadership, try to make sure that that engagement word gets out so you can really participate. You all did an excellent job. We had our engagement, and they're excited and they're ready for you to have actual back and forth dialogue this time. So watch for that participation. The final execution of the group is still on target for this June. That'll allow us to go ahead with stating in time for the 2020 wage process. With that, we did put our last newsletter that they put that in first. So go ahead and check out our website. They sent that see the newsletter for any other updated. If I could, I'll go ahead and let Chris talk about current activities at the stadium. Students.
Thanks, Chris, and aloha, Chair and board members. So actually this weekend, Friday, tomorrow, the Major Raja by TMR Events, and then Lil Wayne is on Saturday. So projecting anywhere from 8,000 to 8,500 people on each night. So very excited about that. And then the swap meet is celebrating its 45th anniversary. So there were nice events for the Halloween weekend, as well as this month, and then leading up to November, we'll have November, December, we'll have more entertainment and other features of seeing the vendors and their scavenger hunts, tote bags. Thank you. So open to question. Thanks.
Board, any questions for the stadium? Mr. Beard?
Hi. Back a long time ago, I made a suggestion that you guys take your parking lot on a certain night to have, will allow the people to ride their bicycles around the stadium and use it, but it would be, for the kids, because I don't like to see them out there riding in the streets, but if you brought something, but they all get together down at Alamoana, like on Friday nights, Saturday nights, and they ride down through Waikiki, but there's nothing specifically set up for them. I think this would be a good venue because there's no traffic, there's no cross streets. It's a place that the fathers can go out and the kids can follow them and just ride around and maybe have, you know, a place to stop and get free water or whatever. And I've never heard anything back on it, and it just disappeared.
The bicycling league came and did an event on the property. And it's actually six or 8, 9 months ago. It's actually, so I don't know how well attended it was, but they did, Jessica did,
Well, I'm looking at once a month on the, like, third Thursday of every month. You have that bicycling thing, so people get used to it. Yeah, it's gonna start out slow because you're not gonna recognize it. But
do you know of an entity that would approach us and take on the permitting and getting the insurance, everything? If they approach us, we could definitely entertain
well,
that.
maybe the bicycle league, but also, this Friday I'll be down there and see them. And so I'll talk to them to see if, because I know they have a club, but I don't know if they're that organized.
Sure.
So I thought, well, maybe the state could just do it because, you know, you guys are there. You work with people setting up stuff like this. Maybe this is something the states could set up for the people.
Yeah, we have committees come in and they definitely entertain that, but it's not something that we put on ourselves.
Okay.
Not set up.
Audience,
Why
any
not?
questions for the stadium? Sorry.
We are.
Can you repeat his
yeah.
question, please? We didn't hear his question. Can you repeat his question?
Yeah, yes, stadium authorities entertaining for events. Because of the potential agreement that we're gonna sign with the developer, we're not taking more beyond. Right now, we are entertaining them have TMR events coming up in February as well.
Thank you. Moving on to the military, Air Force, Marines, JPOs, ROTC. Okay, let's start with the Navy.
Sherry, so the Navy, the Department of the Navy received and accepted findings of the Department of Defense Inspector General's investigation. Red Bill, bulk food storage facility that this one looks okay. The means dedicated to transparency and accountability and operations. We actively engage, communicate with stakeholders in a variety of venues. We appreciate the insights provided by the Inspector General's investigation. Continue diligence. Trust. And speaking of public engagement, Navy Closure Task Force tonight was to share town bill. I know people can't be at two places at once, so wanted to attend this neighborhood board meeting as well as neighborhood house. It's open house as our order. Also wanted to let you know, and we'll provide more details. Next restoration advisory board meeting. It's going to be held on December 11th. Bobby Veterans Center, Boston Village. And because, especially because it's held here, it's particular district. I want to make sure everybody's aware of that. The restoration advisory grab, and there is some public input, but it's mostly an opportunity to get information and ask very difficult questions about a myriad of topics. And we also wanted to let you folks know on a military communities, which is a private entity that manages housing. EV tomorrow celebrate $9 so basically it's a positive way of getting more housing available. Maybe families, so, or more needy families living on the installation. Happens more housing is available. And once that big Scott of well, having
Brother Chuck, Victor Flynn, Naval Facilities, a lot of action going on in the neighborhood. Give you some updates with the Dry Dock 5 project moving forward and recently completed a second major pour of the Dry Dock floor. This will be the second of 9 concrete pours. And the project remains on track for the Navy's mission completion date in 2028. Water tanks, CR1 and 2. The tank foundation prep is complete and the construction begins next week. This is the issue. Off hours slab floor concrete placement scheduled for one morning during the week. That'd be the week of December 9th. Notification flyers will be distributed in advance to the residents in that particular neighborhood. Tentatively, they're looking at starting at 4 a.m. because when they pour the concrete, it needs time to cure. So that's what we asked about that. Any hot issues, please don't stall. Just call Joe Nelson, and I have the thing that I sent today, his hotline phone number 24/7 and his email. And then falls in your lane, Olino Street flooding, October 27. Got frantic calls that water was coming up onto residents' property. Where's this water coming from? Unfortunately, it's coming from the Navy land in their backyard. That's where the water tanks stay. Anyway, our public works officer is aware of the problem. And we sent crews over there to clear the drainage. And as of this date, there's been no reported flooding since October 27th. We have an issue with the drain itself. It's not our drain. So we have to work that issue out. That being said, all I have, are there any questions for myself, Brother Chuck?
Is it flooding on Olino Street? How many of the residents are affected?
Approximately 5.
5 on Olino Street.
Yeah, and I have all the reports, so you need the follow. Got it.
Yeah, that's, David, that's been going on for many years. That drain is a problem. It's not big enough, but I don't know what you guys are going to be able to do with it. But I've talked to the people that live in that area, and they're pretty much understandable, but it's time that it's wearing. You know, it's time to get it done, get something developed for them. So, and the reason there hasn't been a problem since that last occurrence is we haven't had real heavy rain. You know, and that's when it occurs, is when we get heavy downpours, then you get the flooding. But we haven't had any heavy rains in our area, rain, but not heavy. But that's good, and I'm glad you're on it. And also on the tanks, when the tanks were started to get tore down, the notices were given out to the area a day before it started. Maybe a little earlier, we should get them out like a week so people can understand what's going on, prepared. And that's it. Where's that fireman says? That might help. But so far, I haven't had anybody complain about it so far. Thank you.
Thank you, Larry, for those kind words. When it did rain a little bit heavy, I did make some calls to the residents, ask how they doing, flooding, this and that. I saw the pictures, I saw some of the videos, and it's scary. And we're trying to do our best to clear our part. So there's no excuses. We need to be makala, and we're doing the best we can.
Yeah, they can keep me abreast of everything on Olino so I can, and the water tanks, so I can inform my board as we go along. Vice Chair Hein.
Oh, sorry, Mr. McConnell. Is the Navy going to start participating back in the CRI meetings? Is the EPA still hosting those? Yeah. Is the Navy going to start participating in those again fully? Especially based on today's scathing report, and so will be.
I don't know. I'll think it back.
Either that or something of that type of engagement, because the open houses are one-way engagements. So I don't know if that meets the requirement for engagement. Houses I've been to for the defueling was mainly just on the efforts with defueling, with the things that the community was most either had questions about and or yeah, if not the CRI meetings, if there is another pathway that they're going to start genuine engagement.
Better exploration station. Members engage more. Very, very strong.
Identify yourself.